So, 보다. This is probably the last lesson I'm going to do in this live stream. But it's fairly short. Oh, no, there is 2 pages. Okay, we'll see how far we get. Okay, so 보다. Now, I remember when I was first learning Korean, this grammar form was one of the hardest ones for me. It completely broke my brain, honestly. I remember it being really hard to get my head around this because it feels completely backwards from English. So going into this, be prepared. This might be easy for you. It might be very easy for you. If you're like me, I really struggled with 보다. But let's look at it together. We have an example sentence to start. We have this sentence. 추운 날씨보다 더운 날씨가 더 좋아요. Okay, so we have a couple things going on. We have this 추운 and we have this 더운. This is the adjective form of cold and hot. So 보다 is to see. Yes, so the verb 보다 literally means to see, but when it's used with a noun, it's a completely different grammar form. And it's only used with nouns this way. And it's directly attached to the noun. So this 날씨 보다 is this grammar form here. It does not mean to see in this sentence. Okay. So 추운 날씨. 날씨 is weather. 날씨 is weather. And 추운 means cold and 더운 is hot. We learned how to turn verbs into adjectives in a previous live stream, but basically this is the adjective form of 춥다. 춥다 is to be cold, it's dictionary form. 추워요 is it's cold in the present tense. And 추운 is the adjective form. So this is only used before nouns. This book is Conversational Korean Grammar. So be aware that these verbs can be conjugated into different forms. So this means cold, and this means hot, weather. And then 더 좋아요. 더 좋아요, we have our more. We just learned about 더 and 덜 in the previous live stream. So 더 is more. 좋아요 means to be good or to be nice or to be liked. So more 더 좋아요 is to like more. And now we have our 보다. Our 보다, let me highlight it. Okay, so the tricky part comes in when you're figuring out what this means. So if I covered this English up, 추운 날씨보다 더운 날씨가 더 좋아요. Okay, so what helped me when I was learning this is I think about 보다 working backwards. I think about it sticking and applying to the noun behind it. So think of it kind of working back onto here. So, and think of it you can think of it being like compared to. So 추운 날씨보다 means compared to cold weather. I have this 추운 날씨, this cold weather. 보다, compared to this cold weather, 더운 날씨가, hot weather, is more liked. So the sentence means I like hot weather more than cold weather. Notice how the sentence is like backwards, right? In English, it's completely the other way around, which I think is why it was so hard for my brain to get used to this. But that helped me. If it doesn't help you, you don't have to learn that. But it helped me to think about this 보다 working backwards. Okay. Now it makes sense. I'm glad that helped. 신발보다 가방이 비싸요. Yeah, that's fine. You're saying compared to the shoes, the bag is more expensive. Yeah, you can say that. Okay. So there's another sort of explanation here. I've kind of talked about this as well. This is just a little note that there's kind of 2 ways to think about translating 보다, and both are fine. But, one might help you more than the other. A 보다 B means compared to A, compared to A, B is something, 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 whatever it is. Or A보다 B is more or less than A. You don't know if it's more or less because there's no 더 or 덜, there's no particle telling you. Generally, you don't necessarily need these guys if it's clear from context. And generally, if there's none of these guys, it probably means 더. So you can drop these guys. And generally, people are going to assume that you mean more. But it is very normal to include 더 and 덜 in sentences using 보다, just to make the meaning of your sentence clear to people what you're comparing it, which one is more than the other. Okay, so 영어 어려워요? English is hard, I know. So is Korean. All languages are hard, to be honest. Any language that's not your native language is really, really hard. Okay. Can we buy the book worldwide? Yes, in most countries I believe you can. We also do have PDFs available on our website if you would prefer a digital version. If you want a physical version, Amazon is pretty global, but also there's a website called the Book Depository. The Book Depository ships worldwide for free, so it's a good place to check out as well. Okay, so to use... is a good beginner book? Yes, it is a good beginner book. We are kind of in the middle of the book now. It starts at a lower level than this. Can I explain about subject or object? I actually just did a live stream like a week ago about subjects and objects. So I recommend you go and watch that one to catch up on that if you want some more practice. I did a whole hour on subject and object particles. That's on YouTube. If you can go to YouTube via our profile, our link tree, and go to YouTube, and there is a video on that. Sure. Okay. So let's look at how this is actually used. So one other note as well, it doesn't matter if the noun ends on a vowel or a consonant sound, it's fine either way. You just add 보다. So 타 is T, 타보다 is, compared to T, and 책 is book. So 책보다 is compared to book. My channel name is Goose Apple Books. If you can't find it, there is a link in our bio as well. Okay. So, 차보다 커피를 더 좋아해요. Okay. So before I give the answer, try and see if you know what this means. 차보다 커피를 더 좋아해요. So we have two nouns. We have 차, which means tea, and coffee, which is this 커피. I like coffee more than tea. Hey, yes, I see people. Beautiful. All of you getting it right. Wow, amazing. Compared to tea, I like coffee more, or maybe more naturally, I like coffee more than tea. Nice. Compared to tea, I like coffee more. Okay, what about this one? 책보다 영화를 더 봐요. Does anyone know what 영화 means in Korean? 영화. 영화 is movie, yes. 영화를 보다 is to watch a movie or see movies, yes. And so this sentence, I see a lot of people getting this right, actually. Good job. 책보다 영화를 더 봐요. 봐요 is the verb to see, or you can also use it to watch, but you can also kind of use it with books as well. So compared to books, I watch movies more. So I watch movies more than books. Compared to books, I watch movies more. Okay, let's do one more example. Let's do this third example. Okay, 강아지보다 고양이가 더 좋아요. 강아지. Anyone know what 강아지 means in Korean? It's true for you. Sapphire, beautiful, nice. 강아지, Sapphire had it right. Laka, yes, puppies. 강아지 is puppy or puppies. There's another word in Korean for dog, which is 개. 개 is dog in Korean. But the funny thing is, 개 has kind of a negative connotation in Korean. It's used in a lot of swear words, and it's also, it's not a very friendly sounding word. So people started using 강아지 which literally means puppy. People started using it to mean dog, just because it's kind of a nicer word than 개. Yeah, but you can also say 개. It's fine. You can say 개 too. But I'm using 강아지 here. 강아지보다 고양이 is the opposite of dog, I suppose. 고양이, you can probably guess, means cat. 고양이 is cat. 강아지 is dog or puppy. And 더 좋아요. So this is the book Conversational Korean Grammar. And I see people getting it right. I like dogs more than cats. I like cats, this one. I like cats more than dogs. Or, cats are better than dogs. And for all the dog lovers there, I do have the reverse below. 고양이보다 강아지가 더 좋아요. This one says I like dogs more than cats. So, whatever one you believe or which one you follow, I like both. They're both good. I do have a dog though, so maybe I'm this one. But okay. So that is an introduction to 보다. There's another little usage note here that you can switch these things around, and both are fine. Both will be perfectly understood by native speakers. Notice in all of these sentences, we have this 보다 coming first, right? And then this this noun coming second. So in all these examples, we have 보다 with this noun first, but you can also do it the other way around, and that's fine. For example, you can say 커피를 차보다 더 좋아해요. And it also means I like coffee more than tea. You don't have to put 차보다 first. You can put it second, and the meaning of the sentence does not change because you're still comparing back to 차, and this 를 here is still connecting with this verb here. So that's what this object particle does, right? It connects the noun to the verb. So we have 커피를 좋아해요. You like coffee more than tea. So the sentence is still the same, even though you've changed the order around. Good little note to remember. Okay. Another little note. You can often see the word 훨씬 in these sentences. It means much more or much less. It just adds emphasis to your sentence when you add 훨씬 to your sentences. Can I buy this book in the Philippines? You can try the book depository. They might ship to the Philippines, or we have PDFs on our websites. So yes, 훨씬 더 is much more, and 훨씬 덜 is much less. For example, this one, 차보다, compared to coffee, 커피를 훨씬 더, much more, I like. So compared to tea, I like coffee much more. Or 어제보다, 오늘이 훨씬 덜 더워요. It's much less hot today than it was yesterday. For example, can you send you the book in Korea? I cannot send it to you directly per se, but you can try and order it from websites, or you can get a PDF on our website. You can also use it with verbs. So you can use 보다 with verbs. How? So in all of the examples before, and how we've learnt it is with nouns, right? This N is for a noun. So you only attach 보다 to nouns. So then why is it that we can use it with verbs? Specifically, action verbs. You can use 보다 with action verbs because we have a tool, right, to turn action verbs into nouns. We can turn action verbs into nouns using 는 것. And now we learned about 는 것 in the past. We learned it in a previous live stream. But when you attach 는 것, the book is called Conversational Korean Grammar. When you attach 는 것 to an action verb, it turns the action verb into a noun. And now once you have a noun, you can use 보다. Korean grammar forms often stack like this. You know, you kind of build them up by joining different pieces together. So we have an action verb, we stick on 는 것, then we have our noun, and now we have 보다. This book is called Conversational Korean Grammar. So for example, the verb 공부하다. Does anyone know what this verb means in Korean? 공부하다. All verbs can be nouns. All action verbs can be turned into nouns. Yes, Kagumi, to study. 공부하다 means to study. And we can turn it into a noun by adding 는 것. Here's our 는 것. 는 것, 는 것, 는 것. So 공부하는 것 is a noun. 공부하는 것 is a noun that means studying. So the action of studying as a noun is studying, 공부하는 것. And now when we attach 보다, it's compared to studying. Compared to studying something. Compared to studying, I like sleeping more. I don't know, whatever it is. This next one, 운동하다. 운동하다. Does anyone know what 운동하다 means in Korean? 운동하다. It's a fairly common word, I think. Working out, exercise. Yes, perfect. To exercise or work out. Now, a little note as well, that this 공부하다 and this 운동하다 are both separable 하다 verbs. That means that this might be confusing for people, but in case you're aware about this, 공부하다 and 운동하다 are separable 하다 verbs. That means that you can separate these verbs into a noun and a verb. 운동 by itself is actually already a noun. It means exercise. And 공부 by itself is actually already a noun as well. It means to study or studying. But when you attach 하다, it turns it into a verb. So we've kind of done a funny thing here. We've taken a noun, 공부, added 하다 to make it into a verb, added 는 것 to turn it back into a noun, and then added 보다 to add our 보다 form to it. So it's kind of funny, but it is common to do this. But you do have the option to just say 공부보다. 공부보다 compared to studying, or 운동보다 compared to exercising. Those are kind of the same as this. I'll write it here. 공부보다 and 운동보다. This is the same expression, basically. 운동하는 것보다 and 운동보다 are basically the same. It means the same thing. And here we've just taken 운동하다, turned it into a noun with 는 것, and then added 보다. Whereas here we've just taken the original noun, 운동, and added 보다. So just a note, you can use either way. But this last one, 먹다, is different because 먹다 is not a separable 하다 verb. So we have to use 는 것. We don't have any other choice. We have to say 먹는 것보다 compared to eating. So if you want to sort of refresh on separable 하다 verbs, you can look that up online as well. And 는 것 as well is also a useful grammar form to know. And some examples of using these verbs here. Let's look at this line here. We have 먹는 것보다 요리하는 것을 덜 좋아해요. So what does this mean in Korean? Well, first we have 먹는 것. That means, anyone know what 먹는 것 means in English? Just that small piece by itself. April Denzi, thank you. 안녕하세요. 먹는 것. Eat, eating. Yes, Saya, beautiful. 먹는 것 is eating. And specifically, we're adding on this ing because that's what the 는 것 is doing. It's adding this ing to 먹다, to eat. In English, you can't say compared to eat, right? I like cook less than eat, right? That's super weird. I like sleep more than swim. Like, it's super weird. Same thing in Korean. You have to add this ing by adding 는 것. So 먹는 것 is eating. So now we have our 보다. What does the 보다 add to this? Good question. That's what we've been learning in this lesson. 보다 means compared to. So, and it works backwards, right? So this thing that you stick 보다 to is compared to that thing. So 보다 compared to eating, I just passed my topic exam. Congratulations, that's a big achievement. Yeah, good job. And thank you for joining this live anyway. I'm sure it's still interesting, hopefully. 먹는 것보다 compared to eating, 요리하는 것을 덜 좋아해요. So what about this 요리하는 것? What does 요리하는 것 mean in English? Ooh, I highlighted the ha too. Oh well, it's fine. Cooking, yes, Mara, beautiful. 요리하는 것 is cooking. And we have our 덜 subscriber. Yay, April Denise, amazing. Now I think I have 2 subscribers. Woohoo! Yay! Oh my gosh, that makes me happy. Just made my night. Thank you. So this 덜 again is our less, right? So, and we've got with 보다 too, less than. 덜, less than. So compared to eating, cooking, I like less. And a heart too. I love you. Oh my gosh. More, ooh, close. It's almost more, but remember we have our 덜. 덜 means less. Yes, I like cooking less than eating. I like cooking less than eating. So you could also say I like eating more than cooking, right? Maybe it's more natural, but for the sake of this example, we've used 덜 to say, compared to eating, I like cooking less. You know, why not? We can throw in these sentences just to challenge you a little bit, even though maybe, you know, it'd be more natural to have it the other way around. So let's look at this example as well. 요리하는 것보다 먹는 것을 더 좋아해요. Okay, 요리하는 것 means cooking, right? We had this before. And we have our 보다 to compare back to. So compared to cooking, 먹는 것을, eating, 더, this is the other one, right? This is the more, 더 좋아해요. I like it more. So this is just the inverse of the one before. 요리하는 것보다 먹는 것을 더 좋아해요. I like eating more than cooking. I like cooking less than eating. So you're really saying the same thing. It's the same basic sentence, just said 2 different ways. I finally understood this topic. Yay! I'm so glad. That's very good news. Okay, just to finish off, let's do some practice exercises. Okay, so the first practice exercise is, I like dogs more than cats. Okay, so the first thing we're going to start with is this more than cats part. We're going to start here. So, what is the word in Korean for cat? This book is Conversational Korean Grammar. This is the book. So the word for cat in Korean, anyone know what it is? Starts with a gyuk. 고양이, shakes, beautiful. 고양이. And now we have to add our more than, right? 고양이보다. Because we're comparing against cats. 고양이보다. What is the word for dog in Korean? I have to zoom out a little bit more, I think. Now, there's kind of two words for dogs. 강아지, yeah. I'll take 강아지. You can also say 개 if you want. 강아지. 개, yep, 개 is fine as well. 강아지 or 개. I'll put them both here. 강아지. Now, I like dogs. Okay, so to say that you like something, you have kind of two options for verbs. You can either use 좋다 or 좋아하다. But the key difference is they use different particles. So 좋다 is a descriptive verb and it uses the subject particle, 이가. But 좋아하다 is an action verb and it uses the 을을 object particle. So let's say we're going to use 좋아해요. So which particle should I use? 좋아해요 is an action verb. So what particle should I put here to complete the sentence? So what particle should I put here? 를, yes. 강아지를, because 좋아하다 is an action verb. 고양이보다 강아지를 or 개를, oh, I missed out 더. 더 좋아해요. I like dogs more than cats. 고양이보다 강아지를 더 좋아해요. Okay, let's do another sentence. All right. I like coffee more than tea. So we'll start with more than tea. How would I write tea in Korean? Anyone know what tea is in Korean? It's one syllable. 차, yes. Thank you. Beautiful. 차. And we're comparing to tea, right? So we're going to add our 보다. 차보다. And now we have coffee. How do I write coffee in Korean? 녹차. 녹차, you can say too. That's green tea. Coffee, yes. And remember that it's coffee, not coffee, right? Because coffee is nosebleed. Coffee is coffee. So, and again, we're going to use to say to like more. And we're going to use our 좋아하다. Actually, yeah. 커피, 차보다 커피를 더 좋아해요. I like coffee more than tea. Compared to tea, I like coffee more. Okay, what about this sentence? I drink tea more than coffee. Okay, so now we're going to be comparing to coffee, more than coffee. So we'll start with the word. So we do it with 좋다. Yes, we can. Let's try this one with 좋다 instead of 좋아하다, just for practice. So we're going to start with the same amount, same thing first. 차보다 커피를. Oh, no, see. Okay. So what we've got going on now, 더 좋아요. Okay, so everything is the same except for the particle, because 좋아요, 좋다 is a descriptive verb. 좋아하다 is an action verb. And because 좋아요 is a descriptive verb, you have to use the subject particle here. 커피를 더 좋아해요 is fine, but 커피를 더 좋아요 is not grammatically correct. It's still understandable. People will understand you, but it's not correct. So if you're using a descriptive verb like 좋다, you use the subject particle. If you're using an action verb like 좋아하다, you use the object particle. And that's the same for other verbs as well. Okay, So let's look at this next sentence here, number 3. I drink tea more than coffee. Ooh, 커피보다 차를 마시는 것을 더 좋아해요. That is a great sentence. You've actually you've said, I like drinking tea more than coffee, which is actually even more advanced than this sentence. So good job. Okay, but let's look at this one. So more than coffee to start. We're going to start with 커피보다, right? Because more than coffee, 커피보다, I drink tea more. So tea is 차, and then we're using the action verb drink. What is the verb to drink in Korean? I see a number of you have already said the right answer, so good job. I'm going to go through a little bit slower for people. The verb 마시다, say yeah, beautiful. So the verb to drink is 마시다. It's an action verb, so we're going to be using 를, our object particle. And we've got 더 again, because we're saying more again. And in the present tense, 마시다 becomes 마셔요. 커피보다 차를 더 마셔요. Could the dogs and cats be plural form? That's an excellent question. So yeah, notice how in English we have it in plural, right? Dogs and cats. But in Korean, it's just dog and cat. There's no specific plural marker, right? This book is Conversational Korean Grammar. But that's an interesting fact about Korean in a way that it's different from English. In English, we have to specify plurals all the time. Korean, you don't. Korean, they do have a plural marker, and it's ter. And you can stick ter on words to make them plural. Like you could say 고양이들 and 강아지들, or whatever. You could say that, but you don't need to. And it's generally people just don't use it if if it's not important to the story to mention that it's more than one cat or more than one dog. You just don't use it very often. So the most common time that they do use this plural marker is with people. So if you are saying that, I went to the cafe with my friend versus my friends, you might use ter there. But generally with other nouns, you don't really use it that much. So with a sentence like this, you can just say 고양이보다 강아지들, even though the English is the plural. That's the same. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we've got 2 last more examples. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm glad that helped. Number 4, I watch dramas more than movies. Okay, what is the word for movie in Korean? So in 영화, beautiful, shaped. 영화 보다 dramas. Dramas is, it's written in Hangul, drama, and we're using the verb to watch. Hey, drama, nice. I see people writing it in, beautiful. Now, what about the verb to watch? What is that in Korean? 보다, say yeah, yes. And it is an action verb, right? It's an action verb, so we have to use our object particle, right? 드라마를 봐요. Okay. 영화 보다 드라마를, I missed my 더 again. 더 봐요. More. Compared to movies, dramas are more watched, or I watch dramas more than movies. Okay. And the last example. This one is a little bit of a tricky one because we have to use our 는것 form. You forget the 를. I mean, honestly, if you're speaking, it's pretty common to drop it anyway, but it's just good practice, especially when you're writing, to use your particles. And yes, the 더 is kind of optional. If you just say 영화 보다 드라마를 봐요, people will understand what you mean. They're going to assume that you mean 더, not 덜, because it's more common to use 더 than 덜 in sentences generally. But it's good practice to add it in when we're practicing these grammar forms. Okay, so this last one, sleeping is better than working. Okay, so the first one we have is than working. So what is the verb to work in Korean? Does anyone know the dictionary form verb to work? 일하다, laka, beautiful. 일하다. Now, notice how we have this ing form, right? Working. It's not just work, it's working. And how do we do that? How do we make work into working? Does anyone know what we add to the sentence? 일하는 것. Say yeah, beautiful. 일하는 것 is working. 일하는 것. And we have, the other one we have is sleeping. What is the verb to sleep in Korean? 자다, yes, 두업. 자다, 아스과즈ks, yes. First we need our 보다, right? Because we're comparing sleeping to working. So compared to working, and what about, so 자다, 자다 is to sleep. How do we change it to sleeping? How do we make sleeping out of 자다? 자다 to sleeping. It becomes 자는 것. Yes, beautiful. 자는 것. Now, we've used a slightly different verb here, right? We're using better than. Better than. Here we were using I like more, more or less than. Better than, I'm going to assume that wants me to use the verb 좋다 to be good or nice. And 좋다 is a descriptive verb, remember. So what particle do I need here? 이, yes. Beautiful. 자는 것이 좋아요. 좋아요. 자는 것이 좋아요. All these other verbs were action verbs, so we used 를 in every sentence. This is a descriptive verb, so we're using 이. 더 좋아요. 자는 것이 and again, I always forget my 더. 더 좋아요. 일하는 것보다 자는 것이 더 좋아요. I like, well, sleeping, 자는 것 is 더 좋다, is better than working. 일하는 것. 일하는 것보다 자는 게 더 좋아요. Yes. Now, if you're speaking, this 는 것이 is commonly shortened to 게. So you would say 자는 게 더 좋아요 in speaking. This is the written form. And it's 이 because of this verb. Because this verb is a descriptive verb. Whereas all of these other ones are action verbs. And I know I'm not a native speaker, so my pronunciation is not perfect, but hopefully you can all understand me. So 일하는 것보다 compared to working, 자는 것이 or 자는 게 더 좋아요. Sleeping is better. Okay. Thank you.